crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir. Roota.com with your morning horn disease. Your sip of chaga coffee. Liz Cheney goes down. I have never seen someone with so much Trump derangement syndrome. There should be a clinical intervention here. Now she says in defeat that she vows to do whatever it takes to block Trump. I can't think. The hysterical thing is the freaking idiot Democrats are hailing her as their coming messiah. They're like, oh, Liz Cheney is great. She fought. Oh my God, are you kidding? I remember when I was a Democrat a long time ago, and Dick Cheney was like the evil dude up there, neocon warmonger. And here's his younger mouthpiece saying the same bullshit. Completely un-American. Completely un-American. The way that false, whatever that trial was, well, you can't hear from the other side. It's just, America needs to wake up. So she went down, thank God. And now she's going to do whatever it takes to block Trump. Good. Keep her in the spotlight because she's got to go to jail. All right. Let's talk silver. A couple things jumping out. They slammed silver below the 50-day moving average again. This is ridiculous stuff. I mean, the moving averages. Yes, there's the commercials, and then there's the tech funds. The tech funds are way short right now, so when it goes through the moving averages, the tech funds got a cover, which adds fuel to the fire. The question is, will the commercials, J.P. Morgan and friends, continue to short on the rises? They will until the last breath, because this is the end game. The very end game is no, they won't, and then everything ends. So they're going to do it till the last breath. We'll see how long that lasts. I'm thinking mid-September, but who knows, right? I've been doing this for 20 years. I thought it would end in 1999 when I first discovered that the banks were rigging the markets. It's been a long road to haul. A lot of evidence has come out. Craig Hemke just posted something on the convicted criminals of J.P. Morgan. It's prop money, where he goes through things we've already talked about. Michael Nowak, Greg Smith were the people at J.P. Morgan who are finally busted, but he gets into the CFTC. Gary Gensler, the current head of the SEC and the evil regulator to all the crypto people, was the head of the CFTC at that time when the manipulation was going on. And they issued a statement because they investigated silver 3 times. And here's their statement. This was on September 2013. Right in the middle, in the heart of the J.P. Morgan rigging operations. Based upon the law and evidence as they exist at this time, there is not a viable basis to bring an enforcement action with respect to any firm or its employees related to our investigation of the silver markets. Clearly, that was wrong. Now we have J.P. Morgan already admitted they rigged the market tens of thousands of times, paid $920 million to get out of jail, as usual. They made a hell of a lot more than that. And 2 of their traders, their top traders, got busted. Of course, the person who ran the department, ran the entire program, Blythe Masters, did not get busted. Jamie Dimon did not get busted. And they're free to continue their rig jobs, although Blythe Masters hasn't been seen in a while. But he does get to something that I talked about briefly, and it needs a little more. The head of the enforcement division, David Meister, at the CFTC during that time, from 2010 to 2013, the head of that department went on to defend the 2 J.P. Morgan market riggers. He was their lawyer. David Meister was their lawyer. Anybody who doesn't understand that the CFTC is completely corrupt. They currently have a J.P. Morgan operative on the board. And a Citibank operative on the board. It's insane. And they're told what to do by a subcommittee, and the subcommittee is probably 30 companies, banksters, that tell them what to do in their own game. All of them belong in jail. This is not like a 1 or 2 person thing. All of them belong in jail. We need to get rid of the regulators, as my good friend Jeff Berwick likes to say. I agree with him 100%. Yes, people should lose their ass in markets. If you're dumb enough to... See, the problem is the regulators just give you a false sense of confidence. Without the regulators, no one would invest in these markets, and that's a good thing. It would take a sound, honest market for people to invest again, and that's the way it should be. You don't need regulators to tell you anything. All it does is cover up for the fraud, as we can see here with Gary Gensler. What does Gary have to say now? It'll be interesting as the shit falls apart whether or not there will be a regulator. I don't think there will be. First of all, what are they going to regulate? The banks go down, all these criminal exchanges go down. The stock market, the bond market, the Dow, obviously all the crypto exchanges will go down as well. If you don't have your assets in your own possession by now, I don't know what to tell you. All of them. Nothing should be sitting there at Coinbase waiting for the trade of a lifetime. I think that's just kiss that money goodbye. Adios, muchacho. I would like to point out right now, we are in the heart of the JP Morgan, Bank of America, Warren Buffett transaction of 1.2, almost 1.2, actually 1.16, rounded up to 1.2 billion ounces of silver that when JP Morgan was busted 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago now, a deal was struck. And that deal was struck. And the deal was JP Morgan would have to give back all the physical silver that they stole. This includes silver eagles, massive amounts of silver eagles. I hope for their sake they did not melt down those eagles. I think it was over 300 million ounces of silver eagles that they... Yeah, it's funny. I talked about this yesterday. JP Morgan from 2008 to 2016, while they were rigging the market lower, were soaking up all the physical silver they can get off the COMEX, off the LBMA, and out of the U.S. Mint. They were a authorized distributor, but they didn't sell any. They ended up buying the vast majority of silver eagles sold between that time, which was a huge amount of silver eagles. I think over 300 million. Now, Ted Butler seems to think that they probably melted them down into COMEX bars. If they did that, they just another reason to go to jail. It is illegal to melt down a U.S. silver eagle coin. It is the money of the United States of America. That goes to the counterfeiting laws. So just another crime for J.P. Morgan if they did that. I don't think they did. I think they're hanging on to those. Actually, I think they've had to divest them now. Now, this deal that was struck between J.P. Morgan and Bank of America can be seen in the quarterly derivatives, and here it is. These are the two most important quarters, the third and the fourth quarter, because last year is when they put these silver lease derivatives on. And you can see all of them right here. This is the Bank of America. They used to have zero, almost 2 years ago now. They had zero. So right when the JP Morgan ruling came down, Bank of America all of a sudden had a massive derivative book in silver. So you can see here, this is a lot, $10 billion worth of silver derivatives, and that's huge. But what they put on from the next two, I mean, that was accumulated over a year and a half. I mean, it's massive, obviously, but, what is the total of, I don't know, it's over 300 million ounces. That's massive, but the next two quarters are the shocking ones. So look at this. This is June 2021. The total silver is $10 billion. Look at this for September 2000. This next quarter, they added 8 billion ounces, $1 billion worth of silver, or 372 million ounces. 372 million ounces at $21.50. That is shocking. Where are the regulators? How is that allowed to happen? And what is it? Why did Bank of America have to put another $8 billion silver derivative on? And then you get to the fourth quarter, they went from $18 billion to, drumroll please, $27.3 billion derivative position in silver. That's another 387 million ounces. Now, look at the maturity. Look at the maturity. All this matures within 1 year, and that's where we are now. So this is the second quarter right here, $17 billion, $17.7 billion of silver derivatives are maturing right now. What does that mean? I don't know. The problem we face now is that the OCC, who publishes this data, has pulled a 360 and lumped gold in with other precious metals, making these charts useless now. Gold is such a larger market, you cannot discern what is being delivered and what is not. I think Bank of America has already taken delivery of the physical silver. I think is a lease contract, and the lease is not a fair market value lease. No way that Bank of America would do that, and it isn't a return lease either. It's a fixed back-end purchase option. So Bank of America was able to lease the silver from JP Morgan and then pay them back in cash, taking the silver and giving it to Warren Buffett. This is right when the Warren Buffett investment in B of A went off the charts. At the beginning of this is what I believe to be happening. So this quarter and next quarter are the massive deliveries from I wouldn't call it a delivery. I'd call it a switch from the JP Morgan warehouse to the Bank of America warehouse to the Warren Buffett coffers, I believe. There are many reasons why I've been watching for Warren Buffett and see how he would do it. Remember, the Hunt brothers did it on the comics, dumbest way to try to get their hands on silver. And then Warren Buffett in the 1990s, again, tried to take down the cabal by buying 130 million ounces of silver, but he got busted by the SEC on some criminal ongoing things that were happening at General Re, his reinsurance company. So he had to give up the 130 million ounces, and at the moment he did that, they dropped the charges on General Re, and nobody knows why. Well, I know why, because they said, give me that silver and we'll drop these charges. This is how these criminals work on a massive level. And that was the seed silver to create SLV, which is a tool of the manipulation. SLV now has over 40 million share short position, which means that the trust is owed 40 million ounces of silver and they can't find it anywhere. Why is it illegal for shares of SLV to be shorted? I mean, it is supposed to be a physical silver trust so that everybody who buys a share owns an ounce of physical. But that is not what's happening if they have a short position, and now that short position has grown massive, over 40 million ounces of silver. So 40 million shares that were purchased they're naked. They are naked shares at SLV. I think they're just going to shut down SLV at some point, and the comics. 2 criminal operations. So that's where we are. So the third quarter, they went from 18 billion to 27 billion, and that's when the OCC shut off the data so that you're not allowed to know that type of stuff. So bravo, the criminals. And oh, by the way, the number 2 guy at the OCC is a JP Morgan guy. Regulatory capture, it's called. The other thing I want to talk about is Theta. Theta should be in everybody's portfolio for the future. I don't know what cryptos are going to do in the short term. I don't care what cryptos do in the short term. I believe there's a lot of fraud in cryptos, absolutely. As well, there should be. And you shouldn't participate in markets that have fraud. Get your Theta and remove them from these criminal exchanges, or you will lose them. Any crypto you have at Coinbase or anywhere else will be lost. Will be lost. Along with money in the bank and your 401k and savings account. And it's going to be messy. But we have to go through this. If we're going to move forward in truth and honesty, we have to do this. I do think ultimately that Reggie Middleton's technology for peer-to-peer transactions will be implemented in the United States. That's why they gave him the patent. I don't know if that means Veritasium is going to be worth anything more. They might not use Veritasium. They might use just Reggie's patent for peer-to-peer transactions. I don't know. I've always said Veritasium is a lottery ticket. It is a lottery ticket. So, good luck getting it. It's hard to get, but if you want to be safe, which I highly suggest, go get Theta and learn about it first. Before you buy it, go learn about it. You can go to thetatoken.org. The latest thing is this mainnet 4.0. This is going to change the world of blockchain because it allows companies, media companies like Netflix and YouTube and Lionsgate and all these companies, any corporation, Apple Computer, any of them, it allows them to create subchains so they can have their own chain. So Netflix can run off the Theta edge node, sharing Wi-Fi capacity, sharing the internet with people in their area. And there's no hardware involved. It's a software download. And Netflix can create their own chain on the Theta network, and it uses T-Fuel. Right now, I'd buy T-Fuel, truthfully. The ratio is 20 to 1. I think it'll get down to 10 to 1. But you don't want to stop getting Theta because Theta is it's the controller of it all. And there'll be so many cryptos that are built on the Theta blockchain in either subchains, like the Netflix blockchain can be built on Theta. This is starting in, October 1st. Wait, let's take a look here. October 1st is when the testnet launches, and then December 1st will give everybody the ability to create subchains, including Netflix and YouTube and Apple and GE and any corporation, any entity can create a subchain that they control. And that's a big thing for these companies. They don't want to run a blockchain. They want to decentralize as much as possible blockchain, but they want to control that blockchain. They want it on the Netflix blockchain. And that's what the Theta meta chain can do. And it's real interesting for those of you who are Patreon members of Crypto Viewing. I highly suggest joining that if you're not a member already, and then go to the Hitomi, the full debrief with Hitomi. And what she has in this debrief, she shows all these tokens, YouTube and all these tokens that will be built off the Theta main blockchain. I mean, you go through all the Hitomi reading, it's shocking how she even named Theta. Remember, she's working off a little number and letters, like at 7 or 8 or whatever the number is. That's how the remote viewing people do it. They don't give them information. They just give them this number and say, okay, do a reading. And she came up with amazing stuff on Theta. And she even named it the Theta Network. That's how good she is, or she was. She passed away. But yeah, it is shocking. I keep hearing about all these tokens that will be built off the new Theta Metaverse chain, and it told me he wrote all about it. It's right here. Even YouTube will be running off the Theta blockchain. So now is the time to get it if you don't have it. Obviously, it's at $1.41. I don't know how low it can go. I don't know how high it can go. I believe that Michelle Whitedove was correct that Theta will go into the thousands, and it's pretty easy to see how it could do that if the entire world is adopting it. Remember, Theta is a software download. It is a download. Theta Labs can have Samsung download a Theta edge node on every single device they have, practically. That's into cell phones, into cars. All this will come. Right now, I don't think you could do it in cell phones yet, but you could in the very near future. It's not that difficult. If there's extra broadband that you can share, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to save the world, actually. And I can scream to the top of my lungs about this. And luckily, a lot of Road to Road people spent their energy, and did the time to understand that this is something so big, it just boggles the mind. And the world can change overnight with Theta. For example, if the system falls apart, I guarantee you that all these Theta super supporters like Samsung and Sony will say, okay, it's time, the world needs us. Let's download an edge node on every single device on the planet so that we have a way to distribute a universal basic income. Even people, by sharing your broadband, you can earn T-Fuel. And then all these other companies are going to come on, which they've already started, obviously, with Samsung and Sony and CAA, and there's a whole bunch of them. But the reality that this new vision, the Theta meta chain, that you can develop, you can build blockchains off the Theta mainnet blockchain and have it just as secure as the Theta mainnet is just, it's a game changer. And I think a lot of companies that are trying to transfer into the blockchain space, but they want to keep control, will look at this and say, oh my God, that's the answer. So hopefully you guys got a ton of it and you're sitting on it and you're staking it and earning T-Fuel rewards. Even T-Drop. I don't know how T-Drop will be used in that crazy metaverse type thing. I'm not an expert at that, but I think it will be, all these tokens will be used in the future. And the question is, how many are you going to get when the price is so low? I don't know. We'll find out, right? With the crash of Theta, I went way too high too fast, and it came way too low too fast. But the reality is there's still 62% of Theta is staked. What happens when 95% of Theta is staked? How about 99.9% of Theta is staked? What is the price? If we have these rigged markets, who knows what the price will be. But in a world where it's peer-to-peer transactions, which I think is where we're going, using something like Reggie Middleton's technology for Veritasium, then we got a different world. And if the vast majority of Theta is staked, good luck getting any. If you want it, it would be a pure investment because it is a governance chain, and the big money, Netflix and Amazon, they're gonna all want it, big time. A lot of scrutiny going on at Coinbase now about coins that are ICO'd. Another reason why it was good. It was really good that Theta did not join Coinbase, did not get put on Coinbase. They never ICO'd also. So there's a lot of good things in the Theta camp, even if Gary Gensler gets his way and gets to slam down cryptos, along with his henchwoman. What was her name? Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren, look out. Like when these banks wobble, they're going to come down with their regulations to destroy everything. And then we rise up out of the ashes. I did have a very interesting conversation with our friend Jenny Moonstone, and she just had some amazing Road to Roota dreams and downloads that we're going to talk about tomorrow. I don't know if you guys believe in this stuff, but it is so cool. And so pertinent. Jenny's abilities are off the charts. Those of you who have had readings from her know what I'm talking about. If you want a reading, go to jennyconstantine.com, jennyconstantine.com. But she's having dreams and downloads about Roota and Roota's colors, and that's the key to the entire Road to Roota magazine that came out of the Fed. It's still on the Fed Boston website. Now people say, oh, Bix, there's comic books all over the place. Fed Boston only has one, and that's Wishes and Rainbows and the Teacher's Guide, The Road to Roota. And those who have followed my work on this know that we are headed to a gold standard. It's planned out. It's been planned out for a long time. Here's Roota saying goodbye to these beautiful colors. This is the Grand Canyon gold and treasures in the Grand Canyon. And then there's the Teacher's Guide. In this Teacher's Guide, this is from the Fed Boston. In this Teacher's Guide, there's like 65 questions about how to go from an unbacked fiat monetary system to a gold-backed system or a commodities-backed system. And a lot of these questions are unanswerable because it takes deciders. And they knew this right away. And a lot of the questions coming out of the Fed was, will the people accept this? What about this? What about this? Alan Greenspan's plan was to reallocate money according to Social Security balances, taking care of the older people who bought in the most first. This has been going on for a hell of a long time. This was back in the early 70s that was his plan. But he didn't know if the people would accept it. So they will not accept a Nesra, a Jesra, a Rocky Dinar, the Freedom Funds. All that stuff is bullshit. You've been conned. There can be no deciders in this game. Yes, the system's going to fail. Yes, they're going to try to implement, they're going to try to bail everybody out. It's going to fail as well. And ultimately, we'll go back to our constitutional money. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what the Road to Roota documents, there was three documents posted on January 1st, 2001 or 2007. And I was there at the Fed Boston website. This is the third document, Banking Basics. And this is one of the pages inside, a woman walking up, or it looks a little like Roota, walking up to a teller. The teller either giving her cash bills for 19 gold coins or her giving the coins for the cash. Basically, a redeemable gold standard is because you can't have a gold-backed standard. That will not work. That will never work again because trust is gone. Who are you going to trust? Oh, yeah, we have the gold. Trust me, here's a piece of paper. But you can't cash it in for gold. No. And notice the amount of gold is a lot of gold. The United States has massive amounts of gold. And right now, I believe the U.S. Mint is continuing to crank it out. And that's why they aren't making gold and silver eagles in the quantities even close to meet demand. Because they have to create the money of our future after the old money dies. So, Ginny and I will be talking about that, the Road to Roota stuff, on tomorrow morning. And I'll post it to the private road. Yes, there's lots of great private road stuff. I just posted one right here. Just shocking. If you go to roadtoroota.com and you click on the private road for private road members, this one is under Road to Roota Uncensored. And I don't even want to, I can't even discuss it, but yeah. Check out Lady Gaga's new cookies and you'll get sick to your stomach. Anyway, on that note, this is Bix Weir. You guys have a good day.